You really never know what's happening until you speak with your spouse about what's going on. You need to hear the truth from his mouth, and if there is something going on, perhaps the two of you can go to marriage counseling together to work through your issues. There is always hope when stuff like this happens in a marriage. If you approach your spouse as he is talking to someone else, just be confident. Decide that you will rise above the situation and just join in the conversation. Introduce yourself to the other woman and explain who you are exactly, his wife. This way, you aren't causing a big scene, and you can just speak to your spouse about what happened later on. Don't accuse him of anything before you have the facts. It's a pretty smart idea not to make any sort of accusation until you know the facts. Did you catch your spouse talking to someone else in person, or was this via social media? Maybe she was unaware that he had a wife. Often, when women learn that the one they are talking to is married, they back off. Are they just friends, or does he feel more? You may want to talk to him about his relationship with this woman who is not his wife. Is it a friendship or work relationship? If it's something innocent that doesn't threaten you as a wife, you can just talk it over with him. Ask him if there is more going on that you should know about. He'll be much more likely to openly talk about it this way. If something isn't bothering you, you don't have to let it start now. Your husband's relationships with other women are affecting the relationship you have with each other if you answered yes to the questions above. You may want to have a conversation with him on this subject. Explain the things that you are missing as a wife. What do you think a wife needs in a marriage? Are your needs being met? Do you feel like he kind of takes you for granted? Unfortunately, this is one of the most frequent complaints we get from our readers, where they feel they aren't a priority for their boyfriend or husband. They always seem to have some excuse as to why they can't spend some quality time with you like they used to. To see if he actually likes you, take this quick free quiz and we'll let you know if it's worth putting any more time into this guy. Explain to your spouse what is wrong and how you think him talking to other women is affecting that. Tell him how you believe a wife should be treated and ask him if he thinks he is treating you that way. This is an honest and open way for a wife to share with her spouse how she really feels about the marriage. Don't make something out of nothing. It's up to you, as a wife, to determine how this affects you. Take your time analyzing the situation. What does it really mean to you? If you are feeling hurt by what's happened, you should really just openly talk to your spouse about it. Explain that, as a wife, you feel as though he should be treating you with more respect if that's how you feel. On the one hand, you want to be open and honest when something is bothering you, but on the other hand, if it's possible that you may be making a big deal out of nothing, you don't want to start. No one wants to be accused of doing something that was completely innocent, right? Remember that she could just be a friend. Your spouse may have just made a new work associate or something. He could have been having an innocent conversation with someone. You really won't know unless you ask him. Just try to have an open mind about what's going on. You don't want to pass judgment over other women if they are innocent relationships that mean nothing. Control your emotions. Do you feel like you are being betrayed in some way? Is your temper overflowing because your husband talks to other women? One wise thing you may want to try to do is to control your emotions. Don't let them control you. As a wife, you've probably faced many challenges like this, right? How have you overcome other situations in the past? You've probably kept a cool head, right? You don't want to embarrass yourself by getting upset with your spouse and yelling at him in front of a group of people for having a conversation with another woman, do you? It may be perfectly innocent. You never know until you find out the facts from your spouse. Do you feel honored as a wife? What has your spouse done to betray your marriage vows, or how has he treated you as less of a wife? If you do think your feelings and emotions need to be heard, give yourself a moment. Take the time you need to collect your thoughts and then speak to your spouse about his interactions with other women and how this action makes you feel. Tell him what you think and feel. Now that you have collected your thoughts and feelings, you can be open and honest with your spouse. Tell him what's on your mind. If you suspect that more is going on, you might want to have the evidence to prove that other women are in his life. If you have discovered that your spouse is having an affair or multiple affairs with other women, you may want some time for yourself. You deserve it. Treat yourself to a massage, manicure, pedicure, and whatever else you feel you deserve. As a wife, you are just as responsible for your marriage as your husband is. You may want to think about the closeness you have recently shared with each other. Do you think you have a strong bond, or has your relationship slowly been going downhill? Think about how strong your relationship is and whether you could benefit from therapy. You should keep an open mind and try to understand what your spouse is doing with another woman. Explain what you believe to be true, what you are concerned about, and what you want to know from him. Ask him for the truth. Tell him you are willing and open to hearing what he has to say about the other woman. As mentioned a few times, it's crucial to consider going to the right marriage counselor or therapist. It might benefit the two of you to get the outside perspective of a neutral party. You may be surprised at the suggestions and ideas he or she has, stuff you would never have thought of on your own. The first thing you should do is to sort through your feelings. The next suggestion is to talk to your spouse about your feelings and how his actions are affecting them. If you have actual evidence that he has been cheating, you can go ahead and show it to him at this time. As mentioned in this article, you should ask him to be honest with you, explain that you can handle it, provided he tells you the actual truth, as hard as it may be to hear. If you don't hear the news you were hoping for, you may want to be ready to mention counseling or therapy if you think there is hope for the two of you to still have a nice relationship. You may find that a third party can give you the tools and ideas you need to have a healthy marriage.